Hey everybody, and welcome back to Movies with Mia. If you're new to the channel, hi! I'm Mia Tiffany, and here we're watching the greatest classic films throughout history. Today, we are back on the case with Dr. Watson and Sherlock Holmes. First things first, I'd like to shout out my Golden Oscar patrons. Guys, thank you so much for your continued support of the channel. And if you're interested in becoming an exclusive VIP Tiffany Club member, then please check out that Patreon link, which is in the description box below. If you aren't quite interested in becoming a patron, however you still want to support the channel, why not consider buying me a movie ticket? Currently, all movie ticket donations are being raised to hire an editor. So if that is something you are willing to support, please head on over to www.buymeacoffee.com/Mia Tiffany. And I've provided that link down in the description. Today, we are watching the 11th episode of the Granada television series, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, titled The Resident Patient. But before we pop out our smoking pipes and get on the case, I wanted to share with you some interesting facts about the resident illustrator of the Sherlock Holmes short stories. Sidney Paget was a British illustrator during the Victorian era. He was commissioned by The Strand, a British magazine, to illustrate Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's Sherlock short stories. Allegedly, it was his brother Walter whom the Strand meant to commission, but there was some sort of error in the post. Now, I also read that this was a rumor, so I don't know how much truth there is to it, but I suppose it was a sort of happy accident given the fact that Walter was known allegedly as the least talented of the Pagets. It is said, however, that Sidney used Walter as a model for his Sherlock drawings. I don't know, what do you guys think? Do you see any resemblance? Sidney Paget's illustrations were so exquisite that Sir Arthur Conan Doyle began requesting him for each new Sherlock illustration. In total, Paget illustrated 37 Sherlock short stories and 1 Sherlock novel. He was responsible for many of the visualizations that we associate with Sherlock today, such as the deerstalker cap and the Inverness cape. With that being said, this is my first time watching The Resident Patient, and I am so excited to get into it. But before we do, y'all know the deal. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification to stay in the loop. Alright everyone, it is time to grab your snacks, grab your drinks, and let's get into The Resident Patient. I don't know what I'm gonna do at the end of this series. Like, what are we gonna do after this? I already have to start thinking about that. Our beautiful Jeremy. I'm so sad that we lost him. You know, I wish he had more years. Oh.
Help me, Satan, please, help me, Satan.
That's terrifying to hear at night. Like, ugh, why are you calling my name and asking for help? That's scary.
Help me, Satan. Don't let them take me, Satan.
Ooh.
Help me, Satan.
Ooh, don't look at me like that. Smiling creepily. It's all shadowy and dark. Scary. The 3 scary figures.
Help me, Satan.
That is surreal, bro, and it's him. All of it's giving me like a Christmas Carol vibes.
Satan.
Oh, what a dream sequence. That was incredibly haunting.
But you really mustn't let it affect you like this.
Whatever do you mean?
You have been forced to leave the warmth and comfort of 221B by Mrs. Hudson's spring cleaning.
Watson is like, what's wrong? He's like, I want to be in my flat. That can't be.
However did you deduce that?
Mrs. Hudson has been trying to complete her spring cleaning all day. You left our rooms in some haste.
And you are patently not due for a haircut for another 2 weeks.
Fascinating read. Watson is learning.
You have quarreled with our good housekeeper and sought refuge in the barber's shop.
Perfect deductions.
Watson, you could not be further from the truth.
Oh, he was totally wrong. Oh, he almost had us. I thought Watson did good.
I was trying to recall the concert that we attended last night. There is an element of truth in what you say.
Ah,
That was fantastic. What a cute little scene. Ugh, I love their interactions together.
A doctor.
Come to consult us, I fancy. Doctor.
Well, I am indeed a doctor. My name is Percy Trevelyan. A singular train of events has occurred recently at my house in Brook Street.
He definitely has my attention. Shoot. I'm intrigued.
I am a London University man. I was a very promising student. However, there was one great stumbling block.
Money?
Money. I had thought of abandoning my own career.
When you're a doctor, like, you're making money. I know at the beginning you're not making as much, but eventually it gets to that point. So to think that, like, doctors or medical practitioners were, like, abandoning their careers, it's so interesting, right?
2 years ago, I received a visit from a man by the name of Blessington. Come in.
You are the same Percy Trevelyan who's had so distinguished a career.
I am.
Oh, so he's already well known as a doctor. So yeah, that's interesting.
You clearly have all the cleverness that makes a successful man. Any bad habits? Not drawn toward drink?
Now really, sir.
Quite right.
Oh, why is everything so intense? Maybe he got offended by the question.
What would you say, sir, if I were to start you in Brook Street? The best equipment that money can buy.
But why?
It's just like any other investment, safer than most.
And what do you get in return? Because I feel like this is a quid pro quo here. You're not just going to give him all this for nothing.
All you have to do is hand over to me 3/4 of everything you earn. Now, what do you say to that, sir?
I can't believe it, Mr. Blessington.
He looks like the guy who played Jesus in Passion of the Christ and the Count of Monte Cristo.
He turned the 2 best rooms onto a sitting room and a bedroom for himself. A resident patient. Every evening at the same time, he would go for a walk for half an hour, no matter what the weather.
Okay, so he's just routined. That's all, you know? I love the color of the wallpaper.
Every evening at the same hour, he would put down 5 and 3 for every guinea I had earned, and then carry the rest in his own room.
There's that box again with that print.
From the first, it was a success.
The print that he just put all that money in is the same print as the casket that he was in the beginning. So I wonder if the money has anything to do with the dream that he had.
Some weeks ago, Mr. Blessington came down to me in a considerable state of agitation. Mr. Blessington, calm yourself.
Calm myself! Have you not heard of the burglary?
He is quite agitated. Oh, I feel like he might be paranoid.
Not here, sir, but it could have been.
Within a week, the whole house had become a fortress of bolts and locks. I suspected that it was his life he was protecting.
He's definitely paranoid. But the question is why? Could it be hallucinogenics? Could it be his mind deteriorating? There has to be a reasonable explanation about this.
From then on, he stopped going out altogether and kept himself locked in his room in a state of mortal dread.
He's clenching onto that newspaper for dear life. That is intense.
You say you found this man clutching a newspaper.
The remains of a newspaper. His fears appeared to die away. Yesterday, I received this letter from a Russian nobleman who suffers from catalepsy.
What is catalepsy? I need to research these words. Oh, is catalepsy like epilepsy? That makes sense.
I'm Dr. Trevelyan. Perhaps you would like to join us.
If I were to see my father in one of those seizures, I would never survive it. I will remain in your waiting room.
Of course.
What a quaint little waiting room. Like, what a nice little, like, doctor's office. It feels very calming, you know?
Can you tell me your age?
67.
Do you smoke cigars?
Yes.
Every day?
Oh, was that a question? Oh, every day? Oh, is it happening? Is he okay?
My first feeling was one of pity and horror. My second was rather one of professional satisfaction. I had obtained good results by the inhalation of nitrite of amyl.
So he's like in a catatonic state, but it's like a seizure. That's interesting.
I shall be back directly, rest assured.
And he's gone. Are they all gone? Oh, they all left. Okay. That's strange. That's a little too strange. Was this a robbery? Could this have been all like a ruse? I don't know.
Fenton, the 2 gentlemen you showed in, did you see them leave?
No, sir.
Good evening, Dr. Trevelyan.
And how was your walk today?
A little rain, but very amiable.
I liked that they have the close-up shot of his face. It kind of adds a little bit more like anxiety to the scene.
Did you hear them leave?
No, sir.
That is your duty. You should know by now.
Doctor! Someone has been in my room!
No one has been in your room, sir.
You're lying to me!
I mean, I didn't realize there was so much intensity, and I'm just like, my heart's beating fast. I'm getting nervous!
Have you been in Mr. Blessington's room?
Of course I haven't.
Come up and see for yourself! Look at those!
Footprints.
I always remove my galoshes at the front door!
Are you okay? Like, are you really okay? I would be a little worried at this point.
My privacy has been invaded by a stranger. Is that not enough?
Is he crying?
Mr. Blessington.
Go away, leave me alone.
Maybe it's time to direct your attention onto Mr. Blessington here. He does not seem okay.
Shall I call the police?
No, there's only one person who can help me now.
Did he ask for me by name?
Oh, yes.
Then let us be on our way.
Most intriguing. So the thief just stood in his room and stole his privacy and his peace of mind. Okay, maybe this is more intriguing than I thought.
Everyone! I have a pistol!
Mr. Blessington, this is outrageous, sir.
The other two gentlemen.
Good God, Mr. Blessington, it was you that asked me to fetch them.
He's like, you asked me to do this. What are we talking about?
Yes, yes. Forgive me. Forgive me.
He's already started. Oh, look, there are the footprints.
Do come up.
Interesting. There's just this air of anxiety that's just permeating throughout this episode, and it is fantastic.
I'm sorry if my precautions have annoyed you. No one has ever needed your advice more than I. No one.
Why, so Mr. Blessington, who are these two men?
Which two men? I don't know them.
You mean that you don't know?
He's either losing his mind or he does know the men, because in his eyes it looked like he might have known them.
Never trust a banker, Mr. Holmes. Never. What little I have is here, so you can understand what it means to me when unknown people force themselves into my room.
So he's mistrusting of others and paranoid. But I see it in your eyes.
I cannot possibly advise you if you try to deceive me. Good night, Dr. Trevelyan.
Mr. Holmes!
My advice to you is to speak the truth.
Ooh, Holmes knows something. I could see something in his eyes when Holmes talked about the two men. I could see it faintly. I don't know. But this just got so much more interesting.
I can read in a man's eye when it's his own skin that he's frightened for. I am certain that he does know who these men are.
I just realized that they have been under the cover of rain for the majority of the episode so far, which I think heightens the intensity.
Morning, Doctor. Your tea's here.
Thank you, Nora.
Mr. Blessington, your breakfast tea.
Like never. Did he hang himself? Oh my god. Oh my god, why did he hang himself? He freaking knew something. He knew something. Okay. What just happened?
Watson,
Oh, sleepy Watson.
get dressed quickly.
Any fresh news?
The freshest. A fresh body.
I'm so glad you have come.
What has happened?
Mr. Blessington has committed suicide.
Where is the page?
Nowhere to be found.
Most intriguing. That would have been literally like so traumatizing. Poor thing.
Good morning, Inspector.
Mr. Holmes, delighted to see you. We were just about to take him down.
What do you notice? He noticed something. I could tell. Oh god, that must have been difficult. It was like it was hard for him to look at it.
Have you heard of the events leading up to this affair?
He seems to have smoked heavily during the night.
Have you his cigar holder?
No, I haven't seen one.
His cigar case, then?
Yes.
They don't match the cigars in there. How much you want to bet? That Russian guy said that he smoked cigars too.
This is Havana, and these others are the Dutch from their East Indian colonies. I don't suppose you've read my monograph on cigars and cigar ash. No, of course not. Thank you.
No, why would you? So this isn't a suicide. This could have been a homicide.
These have been smoked with a holder, and these without. And these have had their ends bitten off by a set of very excellent teeth. There were 3 men here last night.
Oh, how did he get that from freaking cigars, bro? That's so cool.
What were they doing here?
That is what we have to find out.
How did they get in?
Through the front door.
If the door was barred in the morning.
I may be able to give you some further information.
Oh my gosh, this is such a freaking awesome episode. It's crazy how Sherlock never ceases to amaze me.
Don't move, Watson.
Gray hair. Magnificent. I like this long shot, and we really are kind of watching him work in real time. That's really cool. Some dust. Oh, some ash. Another cigar bud. And there's no music underneath this scene, which is even better. Those 2 men were freaking con artists, bro. Some footprints. Some dirty foot. Like, clean your shoes, bro. Why are you wearing shoes in my house? Come on, take your shoes off, bro. Oh, a nail. A couple nails. This would have been so cool watching him do this scene as a crew member or a cast member in the scene. I would have just been so transfixed on him, bro. Like, you would see me and I wouldn't be acting. I'd just literally be watching him do this.
The actual facts are very simple.
Can't you tell us anything now?
Please, I'm on the edge of my seat here, pal.
There were three of them. A young man, an old man, and a third.
Oh, okay. So there were three men and then Mr. Blessington.
The first two were the same who masqueraded as the Russian Count and his son. They were admitted by a Confederate inside the house.
It's the frickin' little young dude. What are they stealing, though? I don't get... What was the point of this?
With the help of a wire, they forced the key. The first proceeding must have been to gag Mr. Blessington.
He must have known... They must have known... Blessington must have known them.
A consultation of some sort was held. It must have lasted for some time, for it was then that the cigars were smoked. The older man sat in the wicker chair.
I don't know how they're able to create this atmosphere of anxiety, but I am feeling it.
The younger man sat there, knocked his ash off against the chest of drawers. It ended, of course, by them taking Blessington
and stringing him up. Oh my god, oh my god, he looks so scared, poor guy. That is so sad. I need to know why, though.
This was a revenge ritual. Inspector, I suggest that you immediately make inquiries about the page.
He's so calm. I feel like I've never seen him so calm. But like there's like an eerie calmness to him. I don't know.
I will be back here a little before 3 o'clock.
What are you looking for?
Worthington, March, 1880, I'm sure.
Well, there goes Mrs. Hudson's spring cleaning. It's just a mess.
80, January, February, March.
I like the periods of like calmness and then franticness that Sherlock is sort of exhibiting here. I think it just adds to the sort of anxiety of this episode. But I love the blocking of it. It's fascinating.
Blessington.
Or Sutton, as he was known then.
Was
Mrs.
he a bank
Hudson.
robber? Don't go in there, Mrs. Hudson, please. No. Poor thing. She's like, I just cleaned this place. I literally know the feeling.
Any news, Inspector?
Yes, sir, we've got the page.
And I've got the men. Or at least I've got their identity.
Worthington Bank Gang?
Precisely.
So he was a bank robber.
Let's be gone.
We watched White Heat, and that was about bank robbing, or, heisting. And then in my live, we watched The Lady Killers, which was about bank robbing. And then this episode, The Resident Patient, is more bank robbing. Is the universe trying to tell me something? I don't know. Maybe it's just a coincidence, but 3 times? Come on. Don't do it. Please don't. Oh, for what reason? No one had to die.
It's a hanging job now.
Only if someone squeals.
Okay, we got all these British folk. I thought they were supposed to be Russians. The lies.
That's him. Are you positive?
Oh, yes. That's him.
Sergeant! You're dead! Sir!
Oh, he saw his face. I mean, he saw your face, bro. Like, he sang like a canary.
On his evidence, Cartwright was hanged.
Heywood and Moffat were released from prison just a few weeks ago. It was news of their release which caused Blessington to panic.
That's why. So that's what he wanted to. That was the quid pro quo there.
Setting me up in practice was an elaborate charade to protect himself.
He was trying to hide his own identity from everybody for as long as he could.
And he couldn't bring himself to divulge it.
Because he didn't want to be seen as a criminal. Yeah. Jeez. Too much anxiety, bro.
In spite of the efforts of Sherlock Holmes, the 3 murderers fled the country aboard a ship bound for Portugal. The ship had sunk with all hands, some leagues to the north of Oporto.
Wow. Talk about freaking karma. They thought they were going to get away and they ended up drowning on a ship. Amazing. It's like, will you stop that?
What's wrong?
Well, it's just that I was going to spend the day writing.
What will you entitle this particular account?
I thought I'd call it the Brook Street Mystery.
Brook Street Mystery. He's like, insufficient. Not good enough. Needs to be better.
Well, I myself would prefer The Resident Patient. Brook Street Mystery. No doubt would suffice.
The Resident Patient is perfect. I love this end scene that they gave us. I love that it sort of like picks at itself. Like that was sort of like a fourth wall breaking a little bit. Fantastic. That was such a cute little ending. I love that they gave us that, where we really get to see him like name this story. Such a cute little sort of comedic relief for this episode that was so intense. I feel like the anxiety of it is what really got you. The pattern of, in terms of Sherlock, the sort of calmness to sort of franticness ratio throughout the episode, and then the way that they kind of added onto the anxiety with the back and forth between Blessington and Trevelyan. I mean, that really set this sort of air of anxiety, the yelling between them, the fact that Blessington was like constantly sweaty, like it was just like really intense anxiety. Like I really felt that, and I love how they kind of created that atmosphere for their audience. I loved the moments that we got with Sherlock and Watson, as always, but this one I just felt was a little bit more tender. Again, we're really starting to see them deepen their friendship, and I really love that we get those moments amidst the cases as well, because it really does help you to kind of shape these characters and to stay with them throughout the series. So I really appreciated that. This was a fantastic episode, guys. Really loved it. Thank you so much for watching it with me. All right, everyone, that does it for this video. As always, if you liked it as much as I did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if you would like to become an official Tiffany Club member, then please hit that subscribe button and that bell notification to stay in the loop. If you want to see this episode's full reaction, you will find it on my Patreon, available to the Golden Oscar patron tier. And Patreon is also where I host my bi-weekly Saturday night MWM live watch parties, where we come together and we watch one classic film live via Zoom. I also have a few Patreon-only reactions available to all patron tiers, and of course our Flick Pick polls, which allow you to choose movies for our future reactions. So if any of that sounds like something that interests you, then please check out that Patreon link, which is in the description box below. In our next video with Sherlock and Dr. Watson, we are going to be watching episode 12, The Red-Headed League, which sounds like something I'm going to be very excited about because you know how much I love redheads. So if you haven't seen The Red-Headed League, please check it out or read the short story before watching the reaction, and I have provided links of where I bought my physical copy of The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes down in the description. If you have a recommendation for any classic Hollywood films, please head on over to my website, www.miatiffany.com, scroll all the way down, and you will find our recommendation form. I also have a letterboxed account under the handle @MamaMiaTiffany. There you will find a list of all of the movies I've reacted to, and while you're on social media, why not follow me on Facebook and Twitter @MoviesWithMia, and on Instagram and TikTok @MoviesWithMia_. As always, guys, this is such a pleasure. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe and healthy out there, and I'll see you, boo, in the next video. Bye, everyone. Yowza, it is hot in here. I don't know why today is this exceptionally stifling day in this room. All right, let's do this. Sydney Paget. Why is it so hot in here today? I don't know. It's the sweater. Why am I wearing the sweater? It's spring. Sydney Pagets. See how fast my hands are going? I'm like trying to like fan. Oh, I'm gonna take my eyelash off if I fan too hard. Is it Paget? It's Paget. He was responsible for many of the visualizations. That is a word. Visualizations. Wow, that was quick and easy. Quick, easy, and fun.